wonderful day, Patriots. How are you? Part 7, I believe, of the study of the slaughterhouses and how our American history and looking for lost time. We're so deep in this, it's hard to even consider what subject it is, but it's all tying together back into doing your own research. And what does that mean? That means doing your own research. Like, let's take the Q movement for a second. It says to do that, but the people only research what Q tells them to research. And they say and think they're doing their own research, but they're stuck only what somebody else, Q, told them to go look at. And now they're all great experts at a small little finger of America's history, and that is current events. Let's look at some of our history and our past. This is going to be, before we get started, I'll let you look at something. We're just going to stare at these for a minute. Doing your own research, I'm going to show you how it's done, and I'm going to show you how just any dummy can do it. I am uneducated, and I can't spell, I can't do math, but I do my own research, always have. And so we were just looking at our last stop on this video series. We were looking at Denver, Colorado's courthouse. And it was just absolutely huge. 25 years after Denver became a city in the wild, wild west, they had one of the most incredible courthouses. Which then led me to now doing my own research, and I said, oh boy, I bet you that North Dakota is a small state, and it's not very populated, never has been, right? And I thought, well, let's go look at some slaughterhouses. And before we get in here, I want you to remember that. Now, if I'm going to make something and talk about this and it sounds convincing, it doesn't mean that it's true, okay? You still have to figure things out and do your own research and look into it yourself. And even if I make a very strong, convincing point on this, I want to point out again, that does not mean and make it true. But we do also know, before we get started, that the victors always write history. So the first thing I did is I went North Dakota first courthouse pictures. Yeah. And then I see this old black and white. Well, the first thing I saw this, I went, yeah, look at that, black and white. Look how big it is. Let's go. But then I looked at this, I'm like, look at what an institutional prison that is. But I didn't even get a chance to look at this because we're going to do those researches on together. I looked at 2 or 3 things, stopped, and we're going to go and then do the rest together. This I went and looked at, and I'm like, wow. And then again, where are the people? We can see a business. We can see one horse and buggy with the person staring at us. Not a single person anywhere. A flag, big, huge courthouse. In North Dakota? In early 1800s? Oh, early 1900s. Still yet. But that what's brought me down to here. Which then I saw the history of North Dakota. And it's a black and white photo. Now, I just stopped when I punched on here. We're going to look at this and stare at this. I do not know the date of this. This is an old picture, though. And the first thing we're going to look at is that we can see right down here in the corner, like a businesses and normal, well, this could be Chicago or New York, really, or any of these eastern cities in the early 1800s. But I don't know what the date is, and that's not important right now. What I'm saying is North Dakota, look at the size of this building that was here. These big old huge castle spirals, Look at huge castle spirals. Now, I shouldn't call them castle spirals, these ones castle spirals, but I mean, look at the workmanship on this. Absolutely incredible. And we see no people, very little people. We see our businesses. We see all this stuff. Now look at, you know what we see right here? That's a military parade. I know it's blurry and fuzzy for you, but all you got to do is go look at North Dakota on your Googler, North Dakota, first courthouses You saw the second picture. The first. That's a military parade. That is a military force conquering a city. If you know what you're looking at and seeing things, where in North Dakota do they have buildings like this now? Right now. They're telling us we had them there before. That is a military parade. I'm not kidding you. That's a military. I know. Like I said, I can't. This camera's not focusing in on it. I get it. But there's the guy that's leading this march. There's the guy leading this march. There's the guy leading that march. There's a space, and then there's columns and columns. You see the. Oops. You see the two columns back there? Here's another ground force right there. And then just columns and columns. That is an invading military force. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at some other things that we're seeing here. Old city history, or city history. If we look at this, what do I see? Again, just, huge city-wide, amazingly huge Main Street, North Dakota, Hankingston, huge, but really no people. Okay, that was the history of North Dakota. Here's a bird's eye view of it, but that's not really what we want to be looking at. Okay, so then we're done with North Dakota. Let's do the same thing somewhere else. We're going back up. They're saying that's the courthouse there again too, right? So let's go back up to the top. Courthouses. That seems to be something interesting. Let's go. What's another state, you guys? What's another good one that we should go look at? Which one? Yeah, Idaho, right? Oops. Idaho. U.S. state, Idaho, courthouses, first pictures. The reason I picked this is because Idaho, again, is a very small populated state, always has been. Go back into images. You might go back. We don't know the history of this, but this is one of, we do, but I don't know right now. Okay, and look at this again. Here's in Boise, Idaho. It's the former courthouse. And we're talking, this state here, what time did it become a state? This one I don't even believe was part of the Louisiana Purchase. And then they're saying that this was one of the first courthouses. What kind of a crime rate was going on? Because, see, the first thing back in the Wild West, and these early things is what you do, is it was the sheriff, and then a judge came and did court cases on the spot, or you took them to the big town. So is that what's happening? The whole state was coming here and doing their trials? But this looks like a prison, mental hospital, an extermination camp. These are death houses. And again, former. Once it was used, they put it to the ground. They put this to courthousehistory.com, a historical look at our nation's country. At what point in time did we have to have this many judges and lawyers and people convicting people of guilty and not guilty crimes? In North Dakota. Now this is Idaho. Again, these are institutional slaughterhouses. You can call them what you want. We know we are in a prison, place. So then back over to here. Let's go into now, I'm in Oregon. Search Oregon, first courthouses. That's a beautiful looking courthouse. Doesn't look like an institutional, like you walk it. Holy moly. That doesn't look like